Okay, I think we're live, and hope this is pretty good. Well, the lighting is sort of weird here. Um, I apologize for being 9 minutes late. There were once again some technical difficulties. Oh, pretty clear now. So yeah, there were some difficulties, and I apologize for that. But it's good to see you all. First off, let me let the group know that I am live as per tradition, and hope everybody is doing pretty good. Whoever's watching this on recording, I hope I impart some wisdom to you that you will find useful. Um, okay, let's see, just a moment. I'm live right now. So that is done. So yeah, good to see you guys. So yeah, it's been a few weeks. There's been some crazy developments actually in the last few weeks. I'm starting yet another call center. So the nice thing about this is that all of you can sort of look at this and watch these. Whoever's watching on again a recording of this, the replay of this, and know that I'm not just someone that built a company and sold it and then decided they don't ever want to get back in the space again, but I'm still teaching about it, right? um, I'm getting back into the game and I'm practicing what I'm preaching. And so the beautiful thing about that is it puts me in a situation where um, you know I can continue to learn essentially what's cutting edge. Uh, just because I'm teaching about it doesn't mean there aren't things that I can't learn, right? We're encountering some situations in these new verticals I'm going into that I actually haven't encountered before. This time around, I'm working with overseas talent as opposed to, domestic talent. When I built my company before, it was literally all US based agents. And so this time around, we're using overseas talent. So in one case, uh, we're using Zimbabwean. In another case, we're using Eastern Europeans. And in another case, I think we're actually going to use both. Um, and, just sort of expanding my skill set in terms of managing different types of people that come from different cultures that may have, you know, I'm not going to say a language barrier because they're not going to work with us if there's a language barrier, unfortunately. But there are some cultural nuances, that are obviously different, especially when you're working with sort of different cultures and different nationalities, I guess ethnicities at the same time. Um, and also the two verticals that I'm going into with the two new call center, one of them being sort of like the coaching like course creator industry, which I'm now technically in, going after that niche, and then also going after the cannabis niche. Uh, in terms of those two niches, hey Mark, good to see you, and again, welcome to the tribe. Um, hey, Made in China, good to see you. Welcome to the call. So the niche that I'm going into this time around is a whole new set of things, right? Uh, you learn things about each industry as you go into it. Now, a lot of the sort of fundamentals are still going to be the same, though, right? And that's the good thing about my paid program. You can learn from the free email course, but of course, you learn a lot more from the paid program. Hey, Triple Sec. Let us know where you're from, Triple Sec. Good to see you on here. Um, I like Triple C Sec because we're Triple C, call center cash. So yeah, good to see you on here. But again, it's really interesting to delve into new industry and work with new types of talent from different places. It's a great for me way again for me to expand my skill set. I'm approaching this in a slightly different way. and I'm going to continue to teach everyone as I am learning new things. So very exciting time. Again, happy to have you on here. With that said, 6:44 p.m. Central Time, and in 46 minutes, well, in a half hour, I'm gonna stick on here for about a half hour longer because in 46 minutes, I've got to hop on with the tribe members. So if you're wanting to be on that call as well, good idea. Um, oh, sweet, from Canada, very cool stuff. Maybe we talked before. I think maybe I can remember that. Um, there's actually a good amount of Canadians that are joining our program, and a lot of our most successful students actually are in Canada. I don't know why. Maybe Canadians just work harder. Hey, Julie, good to see you. Another tribe member. She's out in Montana, so good to see you, Julie. Um, but yeah, so the format for these is I typically have a few questions that sort of written down, getting into it. That's not going to be the case this time around. I'm just going to make up a few questions that have sort of come up. That's funny. Living the American dream in Canada. I mean, that's sort of the best of both worlds, right? Because you get health insurance while also going after entrepreneurship. So, if you can make it work there, it's fantastic. If only you had warm weather, right? But I'm in Chicago, so I can't say anything. Um, so, um, as far as the question, there's a few things that have come up that I have personally been having to solve myself. The first thing, I'll just sort of type this, is do you ever use scripts for your agents or do they wing it? So, the first question, okay, again, the format is whoever is on this call and has questions, feel free to ask them. And I prioritize answering no questions that are live, and that's the point of this live Q&A. But in case no one asks any question, I always make sure that I write down a few questions so that I have something to talk about when I'm on the video call. Um, so the first question that came up is, or that I wrote down is, do you ever use script for your agents or do they wing it? So in the case of one of my new ventures, we're actually gonna, and maybe both of them, we're going to be using scripts. Um, One of the cool things, and this would be sort of a gem, is that if you're doing live chat with your agent or providing that as a service, um, you know live chat can be something that is either frustrating or ridiculously easy. And the way to make it way easier is to use something called canned responses, depending on the software, they might word it that way. Or in the software we're using, which is talk.to, ta.to, um, we call it called shortcuts in that application. And so if you think about live chat, right? You go to a site, and the purpose of a live chat agent is to answer a question that a visitor might have. Might need some help in terms of pricing, specifics of a service offering, sometimes, sort of technical question, uh, might have, might want to get some clarification on certain things. And so when they're asking those questions, it's important that I think my dog is gonna bark. So I apologize, but my dog is barking. Lucky, he'll stop in a second. So when we are dealing with live chat, it's nice to have canned responses. Because what's going to happen a lot of times is a lot of the questions that come in are going to be pretty common, right? And if you sort of set up a list of common answers to the common questions that come up, then you get a few things. One, your agent will be able to handle more conversations over the course of the day because they're typing less, right? Rather than typing out some long response that pertains to pricing, giving a few options and then linking the pricing page, right? Instead of doing that, They can just start typing in the at least in talk.2, they can start by pressing class. They got the shortcut, and you can start to type in pricing if it's been named that way, and then the response that's typically generated will just come up, and then you just click on it, and it auto fills out that chat box with like a response that would take a very fast agent 30 seconds to maybe a minute to type up. And so then you can just send that and move on, right? So much easier. And it makes it easier also if you have teams that are, English is their second language. Um, you can have some consistency in terms of the grammar. You can have consistency in the style of communicating, even if the grammar is technically correct. Sometimes people that have English as a second language will sort of have a unique way of saying things. It will be completely correct, but it won't be the common way to say or convey a certain message. And so, when that's the case, some people in the U.S. Um, in Western countries, sometimes they're like, "Oh, this person definitely," which I think is fine. But if you're trying to make the impression that, like, you got this continuous or continuity, uniform sort of service level that you're trying to provide, then canned responses is a great way to do it. And so, in terms of scripts, um, canned responses is a type of scripting. Okay. Now, in terms of on the phone, you can have them respond to a question by saying, responding to it the way they would normally say it, right? Or you can literally have them have a scripted response to certain questions. Now, in certain cases, we're also going to do that because, when you're dealing with what amount to low level customer service type thing, I think it's important, and it might seem counterintuitive, but you don't want your agent to have to think too much. Because what happens is if they're taking a decent amount of calls and they have to think a lot on each and every single one of their calls day in and day out, what happens is that they start to get pretty mentally drained. It can be really difficult to, talk to 50 to 100 people every single day in and day out. And you have to, think a lot in order to navigate each conversation over and over again. If you're able to just be there and sort of say some of the same things over and over again, basically without having to think about it too much, life is a lot easier, and that's what I prefer. So, one quick second. um yeah, I think we're going to utilize some scripting, especially for certain types of things. Okay. um Yeah. So what else? What's another question I can answer? And if any of you that are here have any questions, feel free to ask. I know Julie and Mark. Um, oh, okay. So Jay just asked a really good question. Um, said, "Hi Donald, you mentioned before that you had others attempting to copy me when I first launched, but they all failed. Why do you think that was?" So, a small clarification. I think one of them sort of succeeded. But yeah, there was about 15, sort of copycats that launched around the same time I did. And, you know, they mostly came from the same group that I was a part of, this Facebook group focused on the cleaning business community. Because, everybody was seeing all these people asking questions. Hey, who are you using for call answering? Who are you using for call answering? And so, once it was recognized that, you could take advantage of this opportunity, and people on my post about it were saying, oh, heck yeah, I want to sign up for that. Um, Once that became the case, it was, who else? Why wouldn't someone else want to get in on that? And so I think that the reason most of these people failed was based off of simple mindset. Starting a business and having the business work is not really about whether you can figure things out. as far as the difficulty of the idea and technically knowing the step to implementing and working through things. Yes, you know some people are gonna take more time than others to figure things out based off of all kinds of variables. Whether you have experience in regular business, in service businesses, in related industries, whatever, right? But what happens, I think, when people sort of copycat is they want to take the path of least resistance. And when you want to take the path of least resistance, if that's your approach to business, then typically the mindset and approach in general, whether they're copycatting me or anything else, that lead to failure. Now, there is nothing wrong with, to a certain extent, copying ideas and like having the same idea. That's totally fine. To a certain extent, I do it all the time because I'm not the first person to decide, hey, I should do a call center. I'm not the first person to say, hey, I should do a call center for a specific niche. But um, when it comes to copying an idea versus trying to copy everything, again, you're just trying to take the path of least resistance. If you take the path of least resistance and you encounter the inevitable resistance that always happens when you're starting a new company, you're trying to get clients and you're trying to do these things, you're going to get some friction. You're going to have roadblocks. You're going to bang your head against the wall. And these people just give up. And giving up is the failure, right? It's not, oh, they put in their best effort. They went for years and years and years. Hey, Asioma Isu. I hope I'm saying that right. But hey, from Canada, good to have you here. That's what failure is, right? Like some people, they run out of money, and that's also a big deal. And I do not want to marginalize that fact, right? But a lot of times when people are failing, um, it's just like they decide they don't want to work on the idea anymore. Um, if I were to personally do that, then I would have failed this business if one. I wouldn't be sitting in front of you right now. So I think it's the mindset. If you try to just, if you don't want to do the hard things, then you're not going to make it to the easy life. That's a stupid way of putting it. Okay. Um, Triple sec. So I hope that answers your question, Jay. That's my attempt to answer it. Okay, so Triple Sec says, how would you recommend finding an agent from a different country to take your call? Um, well, you know, I'm honestly not the best person to answer that question. Um, I could give a pretty general, decent answer though. The way that I did it was I essentially partnered with people that have a really good in to the labor pool of a specific country. So Mark just typed in Eight Staffing, right? Eight Staffing is a company that I own with one of the tribe students of my tribe. He took my course and then he's going through the course and he's like, hey, Donald, some people are going to go through the course and not necessarily want to hire Americans when they are launching their call center. I'm Bosnian. At the time he was in, oh, he was actually in Russia at the time, but he's like, I've got a great end to the Eastern European market. And I can consistently source people. You're not going to be able to source it well, but maybe you could, but I'll do it for you, right? And so he was like, we could start a company together. I'll do the sourcing and you bring the client from your tribe. And, it's like, great. And for me, it was completely convenient. I didn't have to figure out how I was going to source people out of Eastern Europe. But I had encountered Eastern European labor before. One of the phone system software, one of the phone system software that we used during my time with Vicky Virtual called NectarDesk. And even though the software was not that great, the customer support and certain things were fantastic, and the entire team was Eastern European. Um, there was also this sort of IT tech web development agency uh, owned by a friend of mine. Um, and I can't remember, I'm blanking on his name right now, but he had a whole crew of Eastern Europeans that were just killing it. They were just doing fantastic work, and they were really inexpensive compared to the US. It was very easy to communicate with them. Accents were neutral. I'm like, man, these Eastern Europeans are really good. And so, because of that initial or earlier exposure, I was like, yeah, there's some good talent out of Eastern Europe, and no one's really talking about it. It's always the Philippines or India. Um, so I'm like, yeah, let's try it out. And so for the last year and a half, he's been finding great talent consistently, and we've been providing talent to a bunch of random tribe members that are launching. We sourced dozens and dozens of people for different clients at this point. So yeah, it's been a great thing. So that's one, right? That's one scenario where I did it. More recently, I've been working with some people in Zimbabwe, and it's the exact same thing, actually. Another tribe member ended up taking the course. These two guys, they are in Toronto, but they're Zimbabwean born. And so they have people on the ground in Zimbabwe that can consistently source really good talent. And so I was like, great, you know. Zimbabwe, fourth most educated country in Africa. They've got an 80% unemployment rate, though. So there's a tremendous amount of motivated talent that wants to work, wants to do a good job, but no one's giving them opportunity. So I was someone that decided I want to give them an opportunity. Um, and so that's where we're at, right? I found people that were really good at finding people in a specific market, so that I didn't have to do the sourcing myself, and I didn't have to navigate all that stuff myself. I could just focus on doing the final interviews. I gotta throw this ball for my dog. I would just focus on doing the final interviews, and sort of giving my stamp of approval in terms of their ability to articulate and communicate with me, and me basically feeling like, hey, if I got a great experience with the candidate, then I know Americans are going to have a good experience. I have a small hearing loss, and so if I understand somebody very well, especially in terms of the clarity and pronunciation, which is where my hearing loss is, it's in the high frequency range. And so when someone talk and I hear them at the same volume you would, someone with normal hearing, but the clarity is different. So those are the sounds that people make when, if you think of like the letter B, T, V, P, E, whatever. It's all just a bunch of E sound, but you add that and it creates the consonant. It creates whatever the syllable is, help create it. And so the point is that if I can understand someone very well from a different country, then regular hearing folks in the US are going to understand them very well. So, in that sense, I'm like a really good litmus test or I don't know, hearing test. Um, so that's what I did twice in a row. When we had the Philippines VA company, at first, we were trying to find people, and we didn't do too good. So I ended up with a partner, a white guy in Louisiana, but he had been working with a fantastic Filipino woman, and she was like, "Hey, I can find people." So when we had her start finding people, things were a lot better. She was in the Philippines. She became the person that you know was our sourcing partner. So the answer is find someone in that country that can source these people directly within their market. They will find consistently better, higher quality candidates than you will, being a continent or whatever away. That's their approach. Um, Barker Force asked, "Hey, how do we start white labeling with your company?" I'm going to type in my email and then we can go from there. So I'm going to go with Donald at vonduva.com. And yeah, just send me an email and then we can go from there. And we'll be happy to help you out. And if for some reason we can't help you out, there's also the option of one of my students But I'll mention him in the email. His name's Paul Joseph. He does 24/7 support. So yeah, either way, just email me at donald@vonduva.com. That's actually my company with the two Zimbabwean born guys in Toronto. So very excited about that project. Okay, any other questions? I'm gonna stick around for about 10 more minutes. Very good questions, by the way. What else you guys got? So checking all the notifications. And if you guys don't have any more questions at the moment, I'll make up one more so I can talk for another 10 minutes. Whatever you guys got, feel free to ask. What y'all got? What y'all got? Okay, triple sec. Good question. Any tips on content marketing? Well, I do talk about content marketing in the course, but I'll give some tips right now in the paid course. Um, so one of the things that I recommend, so there's a couple ways to go about this. One is you're just going out there and you're providing value to an audience, and typically the value. Oh, okay. Started in August, so just trying to get clients. Oh, okay, great. So um, the way to go about content marketing in the best way is to figure out exactly who your client is. Uh, that becomes a lot easier if you have selected or decided on a niche, right? In our case, it was cleaning companies. Now, our content marketing was sort of general, but we put our content in the beginning in certain spaces that we knew our niche audience, our industry audience would visit, and that places that had a lot of traffic from our client that we were trying to target. And so that could mean, blog posts on certain forums or websites that people in a certain niche frequent, right? Or just becoming a valuable contributor to a forum that people start to sort of look to for advice. Um, or if you actually like the social media thing, which I don't at all, but if you actually like the social media thing, then you can go on Twitter and start putting up a lot of value. A lot of people are killing it right now, seriously, like killing it, creating valuable threads on Twitter consistently and growing their following on Twitter. You'd be amazed at how often people are, seeing a Twitter thread, getting value consistently, following that person, and eventually clicking through to whatever link is on that Twitter profile, description. So, like me, I don't post on Twitter often as I should, but mine, for instance, says I'm teaching people how to start a call center. Click, click, click. Right. Um, Another thing actually is a YouTube channel. I'm content marketing right now. That's like, yes, I'm sitting here providing you guys value, which is exactly what you want to do in the first place. And it's something that I do want to do because I want to help people out. But the reality is that you guys are getting value from my content that's coming out right now. YouTube is a great platform to sort of get my information out there to people that are interested in the topic that I'm talking about, right? And so, I sort of noticed on YouTube there was no one really talking about call centers. And I'm sitting here trying to teach people how to start a call center. So I started talking on YouTube about how to start a call center. And not to be too specific, but my channel's not very large, and you know, well over 100 students have come directly from YouTube. I think Mark is one of them. You know, Ashioma asked, so that's what I'm saying. So do two things. One, figure out who you're trying to reach. Julie just said she's one of them. One, figure out who you're trying to reach. Two, figure out the platforms that you're comfortable with that will be sort of hard hitting in terms of being able to provide consistent value to people that are interested in what you have to say that are also part of your target audience, right? Um, when it comes to the call center thing, like seriously, none of the students have been doing this yet. I don't think anyone has created really a YouTube channel focused on this yet. And so you're not going to be talking about the call center thing. You're going to be talking about, um, you know, the benefits of streamlining your small business tip, right? You want to speak to small business owners. Say you're going after, uh, I don't know, say you're going after accounting, right? You could learn whatever the heck you can about accounting, and you could give certain tips in terms of streamlining a CPA firm, or just doing things that enable someone that's sort of like solopreneur, to be able to make their lives easier as they run their business and operate their business. And so, what we offer in terms of answering calls for a small business, it allows people to streamline operation. They're able to outsource something that they might have done in house, and would cost them thousands of dollars a month. Instead, they're paying us a few $100s a month. It's the type of thing that you build some content, you get some people around you in a certain niche, and then they start following you. And then because they're in that business, they're going to eventually naturally gravitate towards what you're offering, and people will sign up. Um, okay, so Jayak, how effective do you believe going to business convention trade show for acquiring first client? So some of our students have done that. Some of our very successful ones have done it. Oh yeah, so Ashiyama asked, can it be done from Canada? If you go on the channel and look at a few of the student success interviews, one of them is Paul. He hit 50,000 a month, and I interviewed him. One of them is Andy. He hit 20,000 a month, and I interviewed him. They're both Canadian. One is Eric, who I think he had gotten a 2,300 very early on the first month or something, and I interviewed him. He's also in Canada. And then Madeline, who is in St. Louis, which is in the US. But 3 of the 4 are Canadian. And Eric ended up growing his thing. I think I'm allowed to say he grew it to over 100,000 a month and sold it. And he's Canadian. So there's no questions as to whether or not it can be done from Canada. Canada is extremely similar to the US. Outside of how you register the company, our clients can be the same. Like a bunch of Vicky virtual clients were Canadian and vice versa. It's very easy to serve the American market as well as the Canadian market as a Canadian company. So, it seriously feels. In fact, my project Vandu is a Canadian company, and I don't feel any different about it. Okay. Okay. So makes sense in Canada. Okay. Circling back to Jay, how effective do you believe going to business convention trade show? So Andy, the person I mentioned before, I did an interview with him. Essentially, what he did, and actually Paul did some of this too. They actually did networking event, but instead of going in person, they did like because of the pandemic. I started my course during the pandemic, and so half of the businesses that launched, like all of them that are like successful by now, because it's been around a year, those were pandemic businesses. And so during the pandemic, all of these events that were in person just were done online. And so a lot of networking groups, particularly one that would meet all the time, just started meeting online. And so the beautiful thing is that instead of traveling all over wherever to physically get to these networking events, you can just hop on Zoom. And so some of these people would join some national or multinational networking organization with different chapters and all kinds of geographical locations, and they would start attending the different meetings of different chapters in different geographical locations, but they were on Zoom. And because they're on Zoom, you could just go anywhere. There's thousands of chapters for some of these networking groups. And so through there, you can talk to all kinds of people without leaving your home. And so that's how, some of our more successful students have landed a bunch of clients. Now, in person, it's still great too. You just got to pick the right ones. Pick one that is reasonable for you to, maybe focused on a specific niche, do some research. If you can afford to do some type of booth or sponsor it, and you're the only one in the call center niche that's sponsoring it, fantastic, right? The reality is that the call center thing works for just about every business type out there. And so, um, if you're the only one selling a call center solution and, people come up to you, there's always going to be some prospect. But you want to make sure you do a large one and you want to make sure you're in a niche that you want to serve so that you can sort of, get your branding and messaging together in a way that really speaks to that industry and really addresses some of the very specific pain point that a particular industry, operator might have. Okay. So I hope that answers your question, Jay. Very simply, very effective. How would you approach? Okay, so if you're not doing a sponsor situation, you can seriously approach in a very simple way. You just say, "Hey, how you going?" I mean, networking events are real simple. The entire purpose of them is for people to, with intention, meet each other and see how the heck they could potentially work together, right? The beautiful thing in this business is that you're usually the only one, or one or just maybe one or two that are talking about call centers, and it's mind blowing. Um, so many people at a general networking thing. Oh, I'm a realtor. If you're ever selling your house, oh, I am a financial advisor. If you're ever looking for someone to watch your money, oh, I'm an insurance agent. If you ever need some insurance needs, and it's those three that just dominate. You come in talking about a call center, it's like, oh, call center, oh, call center, oh, I haven't heard that before. And the conversation's interesting automatically because people haven't heard about it. You're the only one talking about it. And you can serve insurance agents or realtors or financial planners, CPAs, or advisors, or whatever, or marketing people, or website developers. You can serve every single one of those types of people that are showing up to these conferences. So you just introduce yourself and start having a conversation. Oh, what do you do? Oh, that's great. What do you do? Oh, that's great. Well, listen, I would love to help you out. I'm not quite sure how you're currently getting your calls answered right now, but if you haven't missed any call, I'm sure leads are extremely important to you. Our service starts at $99 a month. We can do a free trial, but rather than really selling you on it, how about we just schedule a call where if we can talk more about it? And you get their card, you schedule a call. Get their LinkedIn, schedule a call. Get their number in your phone, schedule a call. Keep it real simple. Talk to a lot of people, but also have good, genuine conversation, and don't treat them as the next sale. Treat them as genuine people that you want to try to build an actual rapport with. That you like, you're sort of like a business friendship, because people that consider you to be a friend are going to want to work with you. They will actively try to find a way to work with you. So, okay, Jay, I hope that helps you. Um, okay. Okay, Barker asked, do you think registering the business outside the US or Canada will have a less preferable affect maybe Dubai. I don't think there's anything wrong with Dubai, but I also don't know anything about registering a business in Dubai. What I will say is that part of the reason why the U.S. is considered the land of opportunity and the American dream is because it's very easy to register a business here. Certain countries are sort of crazy. Like in Germany, if you declare bankruptcy, then you have to wait 5 years, I think, in order to start another business again. Here in the U.S., you can go bankrupt, business bankruptcy, and then start up some the next day. I mean, you can have ongoing, you can be like Donald Trump or something. He intentionally bankrupted 6 different businesses and continues to operate as a business person. That's impossible in most countries across the planet. In the US, it's very easy. That's just one example. Um, I'm not like a rah rah America type person, but it's just a reality that it's very easy to start a business here. Last week, I decided I was doing the cannabis call center. Sorry, I decided I was doing the cannabis call center 3 weeks ago yesterday. But last week on, I think Tuesday, I decided to initiate the process of registering it. And by Thursday, it was registered. And this week, I'll have my bank account. So easy. So, as far as getting registered, I don't know what the process is in Dubai. In terms of clients, whether they care about the company being in Dubai or not, Dubai is considered sort of like a fancy place. So maybe you can have some sophistication associated with you being in Dubai. The only thing that really matters is, are your people competent enough to do the job? Westerners that are unfamiliar with the agent that might be located in Dubai or somewhere overseas, it's important to inform them or educate them about the quality of service that you'll be providing and reassure them that there won't be any type of drop off in service level uh, by using your solution versus a Western company's solution. And so that's what we're doing, right? We're providing a couple recordings on website of a sample call. In fact, one of the things I need to do on one of my newest sites for Course Agent is upload a second and third recording. The first one is just one quick greeting, and it's not enough. There was an example my partner told me of a company that has a VA service in Lebanon, and they got 3, full calls on there. And he's like, man, I'm loving this because he knows nothing about Lebanon. He actually was incorrect about where it was even located on the map. But he went to this website and listened to these 3 recordings. He was like, yeah, we really need to check up on these. Like, I really want to see what's going on with these Lebanese. So, that's all it takes. You just want to provide some examples that can allow your prospect to recognize, no, there's not going to be a drop off in service. I'm going to get the best of both worlds. Probably going to be more cost effective. I'm getting a standard or higher quality of service. I'm in. So that's my take on that. Do not be worried about existing in a different country. None of my agents for any of my 3 new ventures are going to be U.S. based agents. So that should tell you enough. Okay. Okay, so I got 7 minutes until my tribe call for students. If you want to be a part of that call, then you need to go get the course. For some reason, I still have it discounted at 40% off. I don't know when I'm going to change that, but honestly, it's going to be very soon. Actually, you know what? I'm telling you guys right now, and it's a fact. On Friday, I'm changing the discount. It's not going to be 40%. I've done it way longer than I thought I was going to do it. It's not sticking past Friday. So I'm telling that right now. It's recorded. You guys know this. And I'm never, ever going back down 40% again. If I do, it will be from a higher retail price. So the effective price is never going to be this low again. I'm telling you guys right now, this is a fact. So if you have any interest and you're watching this replay or you're watching right now, there's a 4 payment option. Get in. Other than that, I really appreciate it. Damon, nice. launching soon. My employees are all based out of the country. I love to hear it, love to see it. And again, I appreciate you guys. And let's see, next week. Oh, I won't be on next week. There is an important event I'm going to be at. The week after that, the 31st, I will be on. So unfortunately, next week I will not be on for this call, but in 2 weeks I will be on. So I appreciate you guys being here. Darren, welcome. Hope you enjoy the replay. Any questions, feel free to type in the comment or send me an email. You can see it above. There's also a replay of the live chat for anyone that came late and wants to watch the replay. And I appreciate you all. Have a good rest of the evening.